Thank you. Well, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. All of the speakers before myself and those who will follow. We are grateful to every single one of you who approached us to have this particular press conference to bring attention to the climate bond discussions that are taking place right behind me here. We are hopeful to see a bond measure make it to the governor's desk that will be reflective of all of the needs that have been mentioned by the prior speakers and the additional speakers who could not be here, that we also make sure that the bond is reflective of the most pressing issues related to climate throughout the state of California. We've been working on this issue for quite some time. Many of the colleagues that are here today and some that are not, including some of our Senate colleagues, have been a good partner in making sure that we raise the issue of climate, particularly in the last two budget cycles where there have been discussions about reducing or clawing back some of the commitments that have been made to our important climate investment programs here in California. For us today, gathering here is to make a call to action to all of us, the advocates, the legislators, and Californians, to continue to press hard on this issue of climate. We don't have to think too far back. This past week, the week before, and the last several months, we have seen what climate can and will do to our communities if we're not prepared. I'm very grateful to my colleagues that are here today. Those who are not, we also want to thank them for their support, including our friends in the Senate, who we hope to be working closely with, consolidate our efforts, and send a good bond that will be reflective of the needs of Californians to the governor of California.
California continues to have by far the worst air pollution in the entire country. Smog and soot are literally killing thousands of Californians every year. And the increase in temperatures is making that worse. And wildfire smoke and extreme heat are compounding our existing air pollution problem.
We have so many underserved communities that don't have parks and green spaces. This kind of bond is really what supports something like that. When you are able to support local municipalities that don't have green space and give funding to create green space, that in turn supports our climate. It supports climate resiliency, but on top of that also supports human resiliency. People need parks and open spaces, and in the wake of our pandemic, we all recognize the importance of our parks and open spaces. When everyone was stuck at home, where did they turn to for health and quality of life? To their green spaces. What happens in those communities that don't have them?
We have seen firsthand the need for a trained and organized workforce to mitigate against and rapidly respond to the disasters brought on by climate change, and it's clear that the state should be doubling down on these investments that protect our communities. This preparation will not only require substantial and ongoing investments in climate projects, but also a significant investment in our workforce, as California will need to train and upskill over 4 million individuals over the next 30 years to meet the climate targets and transition to a green economy. On behalf of the Association of Local Conservation Corps, we would like to thank the legislature for continuing to advocate for a funding measure that will provide resources and safeguard our state from extreme impacts of climate change for years to come.
Story and a vision that is compelling, radical, deeply rooted in anti-racism, and at the scale needed to protect our most vulnerable. This is the fight and this is the challenge of our generation. Work and believe that a better world is possible. These once-in-a-generation investments are where the real work will begin. There's no guarantee that we can keep warming below 2 degrees, but whenever I feel dark with doubt, I'm reminded of the words of Megan Day.
We have a diverse group of organizations and members that have signed on. Proud to say there are over 30 plus members who have signed on to the assembly version of the bond, but it's not